Good morning. I I've had a stressful week, needless to say, and some of you have too, with the complications of Blackboard. The bottom line at the moment is that Blackboard application is not functioning with Safari, so you need to use Chrome or else Firefox, and it seems to work pretty good. But I've had a lot of frustration trying to get grading completed because it was going so slowly, and then it would quit, and so I understand your frustrations, and it's not a surprise to me that some of you are frustrated over it too. So we trust that God will uh, help them to get that squared around soon. Uh, some of you have not completed your reading reports for recent weeks, and so I encourage you to get that accomplished. Uh, I also want to talk to you not only about this week that we're in, uh, but also that next week you're to gather the demographic information for the area where your church is located, not the entire metroplex area, but like when I was up in Vermont, it was important to get more than just the village where the church was. It was to get the county information. And those things are readily accessible in many different ways. And you can read in the directions what kind of information you will need. The next week, which begins on the 19th, is the week that you need to interview your pastor. I would encourage you to get that taken care of as soon as possible, get an appointment, provide the questions to him so that you can interact with him intelligently and he can respond well. If you're a pastor, you ask one of your church leaders to be your interviewee. And then the week of the 26th is when you gather 4 to 7 congregants, diverse, different ages, different lengths of being in the church, men, women, married, single, widows, widowers. Uh, get a diverse group so that you get a good broad perspective of your for your interview. I encourage you to provide the people with those questions ahead of time. And I've had people say, "Come to my place, and we'll have supper. We'll have ice cream and brownies, or gather people together and encourage it." But you have to work on that ahead of time. And the truth is, you could do the pastoral interview and the congregation interview anytime today, uh, if that works for your schedule and those involved. So work on it. As we've interacted this week, I've really appreciated the various perspectives that you've given about uh, what I call invading culture, and those are really good. A few months ago, came across this excellent book, When Helping Hurts by Steve Covert and Brian Fikkert. I highly, highly recommend it. They say things that I was trying to figure out a principle on which to make my perspective. But sometimes we help people and it's actually hurting them because it's interfering with their own self worth and value. And then uh, they have a follow up book, and this is church benevolence. I've wrestled with that for years. Uh, how do you help somebody and not make them, not enable their irresponsibility? How do you use God's money in a way that really honors and helps a person to change? And then a third book that they have written, Helping Without Hurting in Short-Term Missions. And that's a good thing to think about. Sometimes we go, and if the money that was spent to do that were given to the missionary, they could hire 2 or 3 people for a year, or maybe more people, and their ministry would be stronger, and the nationals would have an investment in what was being done. 3 excellent books. Each of them are printed by Moody Publishers, the name you can trust. So I highly commend those to you. I've enjoyed the interaction that we've had on Facebook this week. I appreciate Meyer's book and the perspective he challenges us to think about different levels of belonging. And I agree with pretty much with all the comments that have been made thus far about online studies. But I will just say again, you're always welcome to contact me either by phone or email, and to post a prayer request. That is great. So that's where we're at. And as we wrap up this week, be sure that you go and gather and worship with God's people this weekend. Ask the Lord to speak to you yourself, as well as to speak through you to bless other people. God bless you.